This story is titled, My Sister Demanded I Take Care of Her Kids Full-Time for Free, so I Set Boundaries She'll Never Forget. Hi, my name is Emily. I'm 29 years old, and I live in a quiet little town in the United States. I've always been the type of person who loves family. Growing up, my older sister Lisa and I were pretty close. We had our share of sibling fights, sure, but deep down, I always admired her. She was strong, confident, and had this larger-than-life personality. But as much as I loved Lisa, our relationship started to change a few years ago. Lisa got married young, and before I knew it, she had 3 kids under the age of 6. Don't get me wrong, I adore my nieces and nephew. They're adorable little tornadoes of energy. But Lisa's approach to parenting quickly became, well, problematic. Let me explain. Lisa and her husband, Tom, both worked full-time jobs. That in itself wasn't the issue. The problem was Lisa's habit of treating me like her personal unpaid nanny. At first, it was just the occasional favor. She'd call me on a Saturday morning and ask if I could watch the kids for a couple of hours while she ran errands. I didn't mind. I loved spending time with them, and I figured that's what family is for. But soon, the couple of hours turned into entire days. Lisa would drop the kids off at my place with a quick, "Thanks, Em, you're a lifesaver," and disappear for 8, 9, sometimes 10 hours. When I'd ask where she was, she'd give me vague answers like, "Oh, I had to take care of some things." I started to notice a pattern. Lisa wasn't just running errands. She was going out with friends, having date nights with Tom, or sometimes just hanging out at home and decompressing. Meanwhile, I was stuck wrangling 3 hyperactive kids without so much as a thank you. It wasn't just the time commitment that bothered me, it was the complete lack of appreciation. Lisa never offered to pay me, never even asked if I had plans. She just assumed I'd drop everything to help her. And for a while, I did. But then things escalated. One day, Lisa showed up at my door unannounced, kids in tow. She looked frazzled and was talking a mile a minute. "Em, I need you to watch the kids for a few days," she said, dumping their bags on my living room floor. I blinked at her, completely caught off guard. "A few days? What's going on?" "Oh, Tom and I are going on a last-minute trip," she said, waving it off like it was no big deal. "A trip? Lisa, I have work. I can't just drop everything to babysit for days on end." She rolled her eyes. "You work from home, Em. It's not like you have to go anywhere. Besides, you're so good with the kids, they love staying with you." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lisa had always been a little self-centered, but this was a new level of entitlement. "I'm sorry," I said firmly, "but I can't do this. You need to find another solution." She glared at me like I just insulted her. "Wow, really? You're seriously going to let me down like this? I thought family was supposed to help each other." "Family helps each other, yes," I said, trying to stay calm, "but that doesn't mean taking advantage of each other. I'm happy to help when I can, but I can't drop my entire life to take care of your kids for free." Lisa stormed out, muttering something about how I was selfish and ungrateful. I stood there, stunned and honestly a little heartbroken. How had things come to this? Over the next few weeks, Lisa barely spoke to me. When she did, it was short and clipped, like she was still angry at me for saying no. Part of me felt guilty. Maybe I was being too harsh? Maybe I should have found a way to make it work? But deep down, I knew I wasn't in the wrong. Lisa needed to learn that my time and energy weren't hers to take for granted. Of course, Lisa didn't see it that way. Lisa's silence didn't last long. A couple of weeks later, she called me out of the blue. Her tone was sugary sweet, and I immediately knew she wanted something. "Hey, Em," she said, dragging out my name in that fake friendly way she used when she was trying to butter me up. "How's my favorite sister doing?" I sighed. "What do you need, Lisa?" She laughed nervously. "Okay, so here's the thing. Tom and I both got stuck with double shifts this week, and there's just no way we can handle the kids' schedules. I was thinking you could take them for the week, just until the weekend?" I could feel the anger rising in my chest. Had she learned nothing from our last conversation? "Lisa," I said slowly, "I've already told you. I can't be your full-time babysitter. I have my own life, my own responsibilities. You need to find someone else." Her tone shifted immediately. The sweetness was gone, replaced by irritation. "Wow, Em, I didn't realize helping your family was such a burden for you. You don't have kids, you don't have a real job, so what's the big deal? It's not like you're doing anything important." That was it. I'd had enough. "First of all, Lisa, I do have a real job. Just because I work from home doesn't mean I'm sitting around doing nothing all day. Second, I'm not going to let you guilt trip me into doing something that's completely unfair. Your kids are your responsibility, not mine. If you need help, hire a babysitter. Lisa scoffed. A babysitter? Do you have any idea how expensive that is? I can't afford that. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my cool. Then maybe you need to adjust your priorities. I'm not saying I'll never help, but you can't just dump your kids on me whenever it's convenient for you. That's not fair, and it's not okay. She hung up on me. For the next few days, I didn't hear a word from Lisa, but I did hear from other family members. Somehow she'd twisted the story to make herself look like the victim. According to her, I had abandoned her in her time of need and refused to help with the kids. My phone started blowing up with calls and texts from relatives. Some of them were sympathetic, but others were furious. How could you do this to your sister? One aunt demanded. She's juggling so much, and all she needed was a little help. You're her sister, another cousin scolded. You're supposed to be there for her. Family comes first. I was livid. Lisa had always been dramatic, but this was a new low. I decided it was time to set the record straight. I called a family meeting. It wasn't something I wanted to do, but I felt like I had no other choice. If Lisa was going to spread lies about me, I needed to defend myself. When we all gathered at our parents' house, Lisa walked in with her arms crossed, glaring at me like I was the enemy. I took a deep breath and addressed the room. I want to clear the air, I said, looking around at our relatives. There's been a lot of talk about me refusing to help Lisa, and I think everyone deserves to hear the full story. I explained everything. The countless times Lisa had dropped her kids off without warning, the way she had taken advantage of me, and the guilt trips she used whenever I said no. I didn't exaggerate or try to make her look bad. I just laid out the facts. By the time I finished, the room was silent. Lisa, I said, turning to her, I love you, and I love your kids. But this isn't about family helping family. This is about you expecting me to put my life on hold to do something that isn't my responsibility. I'm happy to help when I can, but I won't be manipulated or taken advantage of anymore. Lisa's face turned red with anger. So, what? You're just going to sit there and act like the victim? You're selfish, Emily. You don't understand what it's like to have kids. You think your precious little freelance job is more important than your own family? I think my time and boundaries are important, I shot back. And if you can't respect that, then that's on you, not me. The rest of the family didn't know what to say. Some of them clearly felt awkward, while others looked like they were rethinking their earlier judgments. My mom, bless her heart, finally spoke up. Lisa, she said gently, I think you need to take a step back and think about how you've been treating Emily. She's been more than generous with her time, and it's not fair to expect her to do everything for free. Lisa stormed out of the room. I felt a mix of emotions, relief, anger, sadness, but most of all I felt empowered. For the first time I had stood up for myself and set clear boundaries. Over the next few weeks things were tense between Lisa and me. She didn't call or text, and I didn't reach out either. Part of me wondered if our relationship would ever recover. But then something surprising happened. A few weeks after the family meeting I got a message from Lisa. It wasn't the angry tirade I had expected. It was surprisingly calm. Hey, it read. Can we talk? I stared at my phone for a few minutes, debating whether or not to respond. Part of me wanted to ignore her, but another part of me hoped this could be a step toward resolving things. I finally replied, agreeing to meet her for coffee. When we met, Lisa looked nervous. She fiddled with her coffee cup, avoiding eye contact. Look, she started, I know I've been difficult lately, and I know I've put a lot on you without really thinking about how it affects you. I was taken aback. This wasn't like Lisa at all. I guess I've been so stressed with the kids and work and everything that I didn't realize how much I was leaning on you, she continued. I just assumed you'd be okay with it because you never really said no until recently. I sighed, trying to keep my emotions in check. Lisa, I get that you're stressed. I really do. And I want to help you when I can. But you have to understand that I have my own life too. It's not fair to expect me to drop everything whenever you need something. She nodded, looking genuinely remorseful. You're right. I didn't see it that way before, but after the family meeting, well, let's just say Mom and a few others gave me a reality check. I couldn't help but smile a little. Mom always had a way of cutting through the drama and getting to the heart of the matter. Lisa took a deep breath. I'm sorry, Em. I've been selfish, and I shouldn't have treated you the way I did. I don't want this to come between us." Her apology felt sincere, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope for our relationship. "I appreciate that, Lisa," I said, "and I want to be there for you, but there have to be boundaries. I can't be your full-time babysitter, and I can't do it for free. If you need help, we can figure something out, but it has to work for both of us." She nodded again. "That's fair. I'll start looking into other options like daycare or a part-time babysitter. And if I do need your help, I'll make sure to ask first and not just assume you're available." It was a good start. Over the next few months, things slowly began to improve. Lisa found a part-time babysitter who could help with the kids during the week, and she even started trading babysitting duties with one of her friends. She still asked me for help occasionally, but it was always planned in advance and never more than I could handle. Our relationship wasn't perfect. It never had been, but we were finally on better terms. Then one day, something happened that showed me just how far Lisa had come. She called me on a Saturday afternoon and asked if I wanted to come over for dinner. When I arrived, I found her and the kids in the kitchen, surrounded by bowls of cookie dough and sprinkles. "We're making cookies," she announced, grinning, "and the kids wanted you to help decorate." It was such a small thing, but it meant the world to me. For the first time in years, Lisa wasn't asking me for anything. She just wanted to spend time together as a family. As I sat there with my nieces and nephew, laughing and decorating cookies, I realized something important. Setting boundaries doesn't mean pushing people away. It means creating space for healthier, more respectful relationships. And in the end, that's exactly what Lisa and I found. If you've ever had to set boundaries with someone you love, you know how hard it can be. But it's always worth it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this one. And let me know in the comments. Have you ever had to stand up for yourself in a similar situation? How did it turn out? I'd love to hear your stories.